Still great.
Hey, welcome to the Huntsville Hustle podcast. We're going to share stories of grit, growth, and greatness right here in the Huntsville area. Today, we've got Stephanie Childers from the owner of Float Huntsville. And so many people are intrigued by this float therapy, and Stephanie's kind of leading the charge right here in the Rocket City. So we're excited to have her learn more about floating and also running a unique business here in Huntsville. So, Stephanie, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Joe. I'm very honored.
Absolutely, man. I don't know if it's on her, but I'm glad you're here because I'm excited because I got to go experience it too. We'll get into that a little bit later. But what led you to start Float Huntsville?
Well, honestly, it was the need for it. I had floated in other states like Pennsylvania and Colorado and Nashville and even Gulf Shores. And so other places had the float centers. And at the time that we were here and wanting to do it, it wasn't open and we saw the need for it. And so that kind of motivated us to go ahead and make it available here in Rocket City.
Very cool. So, I mean, floating is in the name of your business, obviously, but it's not all you offer. What else do you guys do over there?
Yes, that's true. We offer infrared sauna suite options as well as massage therapy. So we have the float suites, infrared sauna, and the massage therapy.
There you go. You can get it all done right there under one roof. How
The
about that?
triad.
So let's take it back to your first ever float session. What was it like for you? I mean, did it immediately click, or was it like I'm gonna need to figure this thing out?
Okay, yeah, I'm going to tell you, I loved it. I was in Pennsylvania, and the float center up there was called LMA Float Spa, Leave Me Alone Float Spa. And I was a new mom and a full time massage therapist, and I needed some relaxation. And there were no rooms at the end, no rooms available at the float, at the massage Hand in Stone that I worked at. So someone recommended a float, and I said, I don't know what that is. And so I went to the Leave Me Alone Float Spa, and I was hooked. And I just absolutely love that alone time. I love that time for me to just refill my cup. And so for my first time, it really did click. It really was wonderful. And I can tell you for my husband's first experience, it clicked for him too. He was really sold on it as well.
I mean, if you end up opening a place, I think it clicked. So I mean, that's pretty good in evidence right there. So if people have heard of these float things, how exactly does it work? How are you floating? Is this magic? What's involved?
It is kind of magical, but it's also science. So it's 1,000 pounds of warm Epsom salt water. So it is incredibly relaxing, but it's also science. It's about 12 inches of water in a pod. And then with that concentration of Epsom salt, it just keeps you buoyant and takes all the pressure off your body and allows you to stay above water and just relax from head to toe.
Very cool. So I mean, I think people have tried other kind of stress relief and relaxation methods like yoga or meditation or even cryotherapy. How does it kind of compare to that, or would you even compare it to that?
Yes. Okay. So how it compares is I believe that if you do yoga, meditation, and all these other types of alternative wellness, that it's a practice. I didn't start doing yoga and then automatically I was, super stretchy and flexible. When you first start floating, it's a process. It's like for a lot of people, they have a good experience, they want to come back, and then it's even better, and then the next one's even better. And so I think that's kind of how it correlates with them. Is the nice thing about floating that's kind of different too is it's kind of boomed since the pandemic because you don't have to talk to anyone. You don't have to touch anyone. They don't have to touch you. You can just truly just zen out and feel the Epsom salt work on your body and relax you. And some people don't get a break, and it just gives them that break.
I like the name, by the way. Leave me alone. That's a great business name. Just leave me alone, man.
Leave me
That's a
alone, man.
Oh, what a great business name. I need to meet those people sometime. So,
Yes.
so far, how has the Huntsville community kind of embraced Float Huntsville? I know you're fairly new, but how have they embraced it so far?
Well, so before we opened, there was a lot of people contacting us that had floated before. And so that was kind of nice because they had known what it was like from maybe a prior float spa or from doing it in other cities. And so they were really excited. And then also we've had the good responses from people that have been able to try it with us. A lot of people don't know what it is, so there's a little bit of hesitancy. So we've still really been trying to help work people through their hesitancy and their worries or anxieties and help them come out the other side.
That's it. So, how do you market to people that have never tried your product, don't really have much experience? How have you been going about that?
No, that's a great question. So, we're definitely still trying to figure it out. I wouldn't say that we have figured it out. I meet people on the regular when I wear my Float Huntsville hat that'll say, "What is that? Are you floating the Flint?" They don't know that we're here yet. So, we're still trying to get the word out. But a lot of it is word of mouth and trying to get connected with different people in the community that maybe would benefit and be able to help spread the word with us and for us so that we can reach more people, because there are some people that already know about it and they just automatically Google search float spa. And then there's others that they don't even know this is an option for them. They don't even know what magic could happen if they tried it.
There you go. Segue. I was able to come try it. Did you know that? Did
Yeah.
you? Oh, yeah, you did because you set me up, right? So you got me set
Yeah.
up with your worker Casper there, who did a great job, by the way.
Good.
Excellent
Good.
person right there. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about because I was going. I'm like those people that probably Googled. They're like, ooh, I don't know, because they probably Googled it and like a coffin looking thing showed up. So that was my first thing is
Right.
claustrophobia. I have a touch of claustrophobia too. I don't like being in small spaces. So it was very helpful to walk in and find out they have the biggest one on the market. This thing, it's more like a spaceship than a coffin. I mean, this thing is huge. For my short kings out there, you fellas could run around in there like a little splash pad. It's big. I'm telling you, this thing. So that was my first worry is coming in there. And they said, if you don't want to close the top, don't close the top. The big thing they told me was you're in control of everything. So
That's right.
that kind of goes into my next thing is like, I don't know about sitting there in complete darkness and silence. Guess what? There's music and there's lights or not.
Right.
You're in total control. I listen, by the way, in my entry. Can you tell I listen to my orientation? So they have controls on both sides for the music and the lights. You can control that yourself. You don't want lights? Don't have them. You want lights? There you go. You want to open it? Open it. Man, you're in control. So you're not just shut in there and they latch you in and come back in an hour. You're in control of it.
Right.
And then the next one is kind of being alone with my thoughts. That's a little bit of a scary place for me, man. I got some wild things going on up there. But what I discovered is something I need to do more often is just turn my brain off, get away from the electronics, and just be. Right? I think silence is something we don't have. Like think about if you're listening right now. When's the last time you had complete silence? No radio, no TV, no cell phone, nothing that, just you and your thoughts. Probably been a while, right? It was super beneficial, but I'm going to tell you, I struggle with it because you're in there for an hour. It's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be
Yeah.
so long. So
Yeah.
that was one of my struggles. The other struggle was just letting go, like just relaxing. Because I'm one of these. I'm like always doing something, you know. So
Yeah.
being able to, when I was able to, I started doing some box breathing. If you guys are familiar with box breathing, and it was like I was in outer space there for a minute. It was a pretty cool
That's
experience. I was just
cool.
relaxing and floating and getting my breathing just right. I didn't do it the whole time. I couldn't get it right the whole time, but man, when I dialed it in, it was an amazing experience. So I think it's something I'd have to do more often to get that kind of feeling going. So I think it isn't just a one-off deal. You got to come in there and kind of almost like you said, like a yoga practice, like figure out what works for you. But all those things that I was worried about, I didn't have to worry about. So if you're thinking, if those are things kind of the top three that are holding you back, just go try it. I'm just telling you right there. And this, I'm not a paid advertiser here. I'm just telling you my experience, and for you guys, go try it out. What do you guys see as kind of people that holds people back? Are those kind of the things that you see?
Yeah. So, it's funny because we see people come in almost every other day, something like that, where they have a little bit of anxiety and uncertainty. And then we always see them leave more relaxed and like, oh my gosh, it was so much bigger or so much warmer than I thought. And so we get to see people tell their stories on the regular of, I'm a little worried about if it's everything you said. We get the questions. Are you going to close it on me? Are you going to lock me in here? And we're like, this is your room. This is your reservation. You do what you want. You can leave it open. You can leave the lights on. Yeah, like you said, you have all the control to make it the way you want. And we knew with float therapy being new to North Alabama to so many people that we needed to have the option for lights, music, and then to shut everything off if you want to experiment with sensory deprivation. Go for it.
Yeah, so part of the deal is you get people ready for their experience. So I was sent some information ahead of time. Casper told me more information when I got there. So what else kind of people that haven't been there? What are some tips to help people kind of have that great float experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I had one of my best float experiences recently, just the past couple of weeks, and it honestly came about from listening to Joe Rogan and how he has good float experiences. So as far as the float goes, he recommends holding to both sides after you are in the water, laying face up, holding on to the sides, and waiting for the water to really calm. and settle, and then releasing your hands so that you don't ping pong all over the float pod. And so we have nice neck pillows that help release the neck tension for people that want to use those. And when I did that and I held on to the sides and just let the water still, it really calmed me and calmed the water and allowed it to be like the best float I've had yet. So and I've been floating for years now. So
You go. You can
that's what
still
I've
get
been.
better, even if you've done it before. You can keep, it gets better. So that's cool. Like I said, I got to come back and try it again because
Yeah,
when I got it dialed in, man, it was so unique and something you can't get anywhere else. So that's what I
this
liked
is
about it.
true.
So if you know what is that person in your life that they have ever, you can't buy them a birthday gift. They've got it already. They've already ordered on Amazon. Get them a float experience. They can't buy that for themselves, right? You get
That's
that,
right.
get them floating around in there. So kind of back to the business side, what's kind of been an unexpected or kind of rewarding moment so far as being a business owner?
Sure. So I have to say, we had a young mom from our church who has a hard time walking, and we had her come and she wanted to try the float, and her husband wanted to try the sauna. And so she doesn't walk super well, and her husband helped her in and out. And in the meantime, he did a 30-minute sauna. When she came out from it, because she has a hard time walking, she said everything relaxed like it's never relaxed for her before, and she's been a regular since we opened. And so it's just really her story of seeing people's quality of life get better from water therapy has really, really been a blessing to us. So their stories mean a lot to us. That's why we're here.
Yeah, that'll do it right there, man. Yeah, you change someone's quality of life. That's pretty rewarding right there. So,
Yeah, it was amazing.
if someone came to you, it's like, I want to, I think I want to start a business. What's some advice you give someone? Some of the things that you've learned along the way.
Sure. So, one of the things that we did was a ton of research. We did mentoring with our owners from Leave Me Alone, Float Spa in Pennsylvania. There's, for any business though, do your research, gather what you can about location, about the need, about where you're going to be and who's going to be in that area and how you're going to get the word out. And so I would say that's what we've been trying to do, is constantly get numbers and data and facts as best as we can, knowing that things can change.
I think a lot of people do come in just coming in hot without doing the research, and that will bite you in the end. Uh, ask a guy who did that. You know, it'll bite you in the end. So you got to do your research for sure. So,
Yeah.
are you a research person? Is that your go-to? Is that do you like doing
Well,
that?
I would say with this, yes, because I wanted to be more sure than just like that passion and that excitement and that heart and that desire to bring health and wellness in a new way to Huntsville. It was necessary. And I would say Alan, my husband, he's the numbers cruncher. And so it's kind of a good balance to have someone on your side that's helping you go through everything to help make sure, yeah, this is a sound decision and we've got the passion, desire, the need, and the numbers back it up too.
There you go. That's good teamwork right there.
Yeah.
So, speaking of teamwork, look at this segue. Are there any partnerships or collaborations you've done that have been super helpful or that you would like to do?
Yes. So I would say that that is something that we really, now that we've kind of been open a few months, that we've been trying to expand to do. And partnerships for us that have been great have been people like the Huntsville Mom, the Rocket City Dietitian, people that are willing to come try something new that they've never tried before and share with their followers. And so for us now, we want to try to get more connected to local small businesses and collaborating and having events, and also educating people, because a lot of times people don't know what float therapy is. So if we bring in someone that's known or something that's known alongside with what we do that works well together, that's something that we want to forge forward with. So
Yep, I got a bunch of ideas for you. We'll talk after this, but
yay.
I think you got some cool stuff you could do. So if what's some of the best advice you've ever? This could be personal advice or business advice. What's the best advice you've been given?
Hmm. Okay, so formative, when I was in high school, ready to go to college, I had like a big brother at church that really truly took me under his wing. He was a music student at Temple University in Philadelphia. And he said, if you can do one thing, Stephanie, I just want you to always have a trade, so that no matter what happens in life, whether you're married or you're single, no matter what happens as you go forward from this point on, that you have a trade, because that trade will allow you to have something to offer as well as something to have a financial stability going forward. And I really encourage you to just have that in your back pocket. So when I moved to Huntsville, my husband was like, "Hey, you love massage. Why don't you become a massage therapist?" And he went ahead and got me signed up at Madison School of Massage Therapy when it was on Slaughter Road. And so that has become my trade of I can always fall back on that, and I do, and I love it, and it's a passion. And now we incorporated it at Float, so it's kind of fun to see that full circle.
Yeah, that's some great advice. I've never heard that before. That's a really great advice because it can't take that away
He's
from you,
looking
right?
out for me.
Yeah, there's always going to be stressed out people that need massages, right? That'll be till the end of time. So good.
100. It's been around a long time.
That's it. So if you could get any public figure or maybe a local celebrity to come try out Float Huntsville, who would it be?
Okay, I had to think about this, and I think I would pick Liz Hurley. She's had quite a story, and my family and like ancestors and family history is one that struggles with breast cancer, and have a lot of my family have overcome it. Praise God. So I would invite her to come and experience it, and I think it would be a nice way to give back to her after she's given so much to the community as well. So that's kind of who I would choose.
All right, if you're listening right now, hey, Liz Hurley, you may be listening right now. Come on down. Come to Float
Come
Huntsville. One of y'all listening right now or watching right now knows her. Make the connection. Liz may be the greatest floater of all time. We don't know until she goes and
right.
tries. So hook her up. Get her hooked up with Stephanie. Switching it up a little bit. So if Float Huntsville had a walk up song, what would your walk up song?
Float Huntsville. Okay. Do you know Jars of Clay? They're old school. We thought about this. We were like, how about Flood? Lift me up. Because the float pod's going to lift you up. We're here to lift people up, and a lot of times there's hardship, there's stress, and float is really good for relieving stress. So we thought, how about Lift Me Up, Flood by Jars of Clay?
Brought up the Jars of Clay. I haven't heard them in a minute. So.
A minute.
Yeah.
Old
Other
school.
than your love of jars of clay, what's something that people might not know about you?
Well, um, so my dad had it on his bucket list to go to Israel, the Holy Land. And so before I moved to Huntsville, my dad and I took a trip, and we had some friends from Tennessee and some friends from Pennsylvania that are working and serving in Jerusalem. And he and I went to float in the Dead Sea. So something someone might be surprised is like a lot of people don't make it to the Holy Land. They want to, and I was kind of bound and determined to be his companion for travel, and we had a great experience, and we both got to float in the Dead Sea. And again, that was kind of coming into our story of bringing float here for people. And the people who opened the Leave Me Alone float spa, they got their motivation from the Dead Sea. So
How about
it's
that?
really all.
How does it compare to the float tanks?
So it's different because ours is like pristine, crystal clear, and it's Epsom salt and water, and there's so much more going on in the Dead Sea, but there's still that connection floating, and there's a lot of minerals that are at the Dead Sea that we don't have in our water, but it's cool because that floating sensation, you don't often, even people that go to the ocean, it's not the same like amount of salt to water ratio. So it's really special. It's even better, I think, at our float spa because of the float factor. But it's really neat to get that like weight off your body. And so, but to be in Israel was amazing, amazing, amazing. So I highly recommend it if you can. But yeah.
Your place is much cleaner, I imagine. So it's very clean when
Yeah.
I was there. So I think that's another people. We'll get back to that. Some people might be worried about, oh, are they cleaning? Yeah, they're cleaning this thing before and after.
Yeah.
It's all clean. So I don't think they have that at the Dead Sea.
They
I've never been there, but I'm just guessing.
at the Dead Sea, they ask you to get some of the dirt and the mud and the water and like put it all over your skin and do like a mud mask and everything. And so it's definitely cleaner at Float Huntsville, definitely. For sure.
You may look at some mud masks. I mean, you're offering these other things. Maybe some mud masks are next. But
Yeah,
so
that's true.
if you weren't running Float Huntsville, what would you be doing instead? If you weren't running Float Huntsville,
Mm. So if I had my druthers, my kids, when they get older, I'll probably, one day look into being a flight attendant because I like to travel so much and I love people and interacting. And travel is like, I just love going new and different places. But I would probably be doing massage full time if I wasn't running Float Huntsville. But when my kids get older, I'm like, hey, get me a flight attendant job and let me get those free miles racked up.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's what I know. Some people that do that, they just do it just for the travel. So that's a good deal
just for
right
the
there. So,
travel. Yeah. Yep. I'm a very patient person.
you better be if you want to be a flight. That's a tough job. I got respect for them. So I know it's kind of a difficult task, but in one sentence, why should someone try floating at least once?
Try something you've never tried before for an experience that might change your life.
Oh, that's a pretty good sentence right there. That's a strong sentence. That's a good one right there. So I know people are like, "Hey, man, this is exciting." First of all, where are you guys located?
Yeah, so we're in Jones Valley. We're right next door to Handel's Ice Cream on 4 Mile Post Road. Um, and with that Jones Valley location, we have a little walking path with the park next door to us too. So it's a very serene and sweet, with the ice cream next door, sweet location. So
Sweet location. I see what you did there. So, I mean, what better day? Go get you some ice cream, go for a little walk, and do a little float. Man, that's a full day right there. Date night, whatever you're into. But
yeah, it's
it's a great
fun.
location. It's such a cool place, and it's easy to park. That's a big thing for me. It's easy parking. I'm a big fan of that. So you park right there. How can people
Right.
reach out to you and follow and work with you guys?
So we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have our website, and we have Contact Me. We have an email. So we have we're open 7 days a week. Um, and you said date night, so that kind of made me think about the couples float option for some people that might not know that we do have the largest float tank in the country. So couples have been loving trying to float together and having a new experience, and it's been really good for them. So yeah, you can contact us on social media, our website, email, phone, any of those.
7 days a week. That's pretty strong right there. No excuses for not getting in there now. So, Stephanie, you did a great job. I know you're a little nervous coming on here, but you did an awesome job telling us about what
Thank
you're
you.
about and what to expect and all that good stuff. And keep up the great work.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Absolutely. And if you're listening right now, just go give it a try. I'm telling you, just try something new. And you're like, shit, it may change your life. Isn't that worth the opportunity? Just go try something. So appreciate Stephanie coming on and tell us more about it. I appreciate you listening and watching this. We'll see you guys next week on the Huntsville Hustle podcast.